These stories were shared by real people online, and what they experienced was never fully explained. I first noticed him because he didn't feel accidental. At the time, I was working night shifts at a distribution warehouse on the edge of the city. My shift ended at 2:30 a.m., and by the time I got outside, the parking lot was mostly empty. Just flickering lights, tired engines, and people too exhausted to talk. That's when I saw him. He wasn't close. That's what made it strange. He stood near the far edge of the lot, under a broken streetlight, pretending to scroll on his phone. Hoodie up, hands tucked in, not looking at anyone directly, yet somehow, I felt seen. I shrugged it off. Night shifts mess with your head. But when I pulled out of the lot, I noticed a car ease out behind me. Old sedan, dull gray, headlights dimmer than normal. It kept its distance, far enough not to feel obvious at first. I took my usual route home, 3 turns, a long stretch of road, then the residential area. The car followed every turn. I told myself it was coincidence. Plenty of people lived in my neighborhood. But when I slowed down, the car slowed down. When I changed lanes, it did too. By the time I pulled into my driveway, my chest felt tight. I sat there for a moment, engine running, watching the mirror. The car passed my house, slowly, too slowly. The driver never turned his head. The next night, he was there again. Same spot in the parking lot, same broken light, same hoodie. This time, I watched him longer. He didn't get into a car, didn't talk to anyone, didn't move much at all, just waited. I walked faster to my car. The moment I opened the door, I heard footsteps behind me. Not rushing, not hiding, matching my pace. I turned around. He stopped. We stared at each other for a second that felt stretched thin. His face was pale, blank, not angry, not smiling, just empty, like he wasn't finished deciding what I was yet. Then he raised his phone and took a photo of me. I shouted, asked what the hell he was doing. He lowered the phone, nodded once like he'd confirmed something, and walked away. That night, the gray sedan followed me again. I started changing my routine after that. Different routes home, different times leaving work. Sometimes I waited inside the building until someone else walked out with me. Still, every few nights, I saw him. At the gas station near my house, sitting in his car across the street from my apartment, standing at the bus stop I passed every morning, always at a distance, always watching. I called the police once. They asked if he'd threatened me, touched me, spoken to me. No. They told me to stay alert. I started checking my mirrors obsessively, locking my doors twice, sleeping with lights on. Then the messages started. Unknown number. You forgot your badge today. I froze. I had forgotten my badge that morning. I'd gone back inside to get it. No one else had noticed. Another message came through. Blue jacket looks better on you than the black one. My stomach dropped. I threw my phone across the room like it had burned me. When I picked it up, there was one more message waiting. You should stop trying to lose me. I don't like hide and seek. I stopped going to work, called in sick, then stopped answering calls altogether. I stayed inside, curtains closed, listening to every sound outside my door. On the 3rd day, someone knocked. 3 soft taps. I didn't answer. The knock came again. Then his voice, calm, almost friendly. I just want to make sure you're okay. I held my breath. I know you're home, he continued. Your lights were on last night. I don't remember how long I stood there, shaking, staring at the door. Eventually, the footsteps faded. That night, I heard my mailbox open. Then my front door handle jiggle once, twice, slowly, carefully, testing. The next morning, I found an envelope on my kitchen table, inside my locked apartment. No forced entry, no broken windows, just an envelope with my name written neatly across the front. Inside was a photo. Me,
sleeping, taken from inside my bedroom. On the back, written in pen, "You lock doors, you don't lock habits." That was when I ran. I packed what I could carry and left the city that afternoon, changed my phone number, deleted my social media, moved in with a friend hours away. For a while, it worked. Months passed. I started to breathe again. Then one evening, while unloading groceries, I noticed something scratch lightly into the paint near my car's fuel cap. 3 words: "Found you again." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You really should have said goodbye." I don't live there anymore. I don't stay anywhere long. And every time I see a gray sedan driving just a little too slow, I start running.
I downloaded the tracking app because my mother asked me to. She lived alone after my father died, and her health had been slipping. Nothing dramatic, just enough forgetfulness to worry. Missed calls, confused directions. Once, she walked 3 blocks past her house and couldn't explain why. "It's just in case," she said, "so you can find me if something happens." The app was simple: location sharing, battery alerts, movement history. It ran quietly in the background. I enabled it on both our phones. At first, it worked exactly as promised. I'd check it once a day, see her dot at home, sometimes at the grocery store, sometimes at the park, where she liked to sit and watch strangers pass like stories she didn't need to finish. Then one night at 1:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Movement detected. I frowned. My mother didn't go out at night. I opened the app. Her location dot was moving, slowly, down a road that didn't lead anywhere useful. No stores, no late-night cafes, just an old service road that cut through undeveloped land behind her neighborhood. I called her. No answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. The dot kept moving. I grabbed my keys. By the time I reached the service road, her location had stopped. The dot blinked in place near the pavement, near a stretch of trees that leaned together like they were sharing secrets. I parked and got out. The night was quiet in a way that felt intentional. No insects, no wind, just the soft hum of my phone in my hand. "Mom?" I called. Nothing. I followed the GPS. 10 steps into the trees, I found her phone. Screen shattered, battery dead, no sign of her. I called the police. They searched the area until sunrise. Dogs, flashlights, questions that circled but never landed anywhere useful. They didn't find her. They told me adults are allowed to disappear. I hated how calm they were when they said it. The app should have stopped working. Her phone was gone, her account inactive. But the next day at 3:12 p.m., I got another alert. Location updated. I stared at the screen, pulse rising. Her dot was back. At home. Inside her house. I drove there immediately. I stared at the screen, pulse rising. Her dot was back. At home. Inside her house. I drove there immediately. The house was exactly how I'd left it. Locked, quiet, empty. No signs of struggle, no signs of return. But the app insisted she was there, standing in the living room. I walked through the house, watching the dot move with me, room to room, as if something was adjusting its position to match my expectations. The updates became frequent after that, too frequent. Sometimes the dot appeared at places my mother used to go, the pharmacy, the park, the bus stop near her old job. Other times it went places she'd never been, abandoned buildings, dead-end alleys, empty lots with no addresses. Once at 2:03 a.m., I watched the dot move in a slow circle around my own apartment building. I didn't sleep that night. I contacted the app's support team. They told me the account should have been inactive. They suggested deleting it. I tried. An error message appeared. User currently in motion. Try again later. The next alert came seconds later. Low battery warning. I felt sick. My mother's phone had been dead the night she vanished.
I turned off my phone. When I turned it back on, there were 17 notifications waiting, all from the app, all timestamps overlapping, all reading the same thing. User has stopped moving. That was the night I heard footsteps outside my door. Slow, measured, pausing like whoever was there was listening for my breathing. My phone vibrated in my hand. The dot was right outside my apartment. I didn't answer the knock. It came anyway. 3 taps, soft, familiar. "Sweetheart," my mother's voice said through the door. My blood went cold. Her voice sounded right. Too right. Same gentle strain, same careful pacing between words. "I think I'm lost. Can you open the door?" I backed away until I hit the wall. The app pinged. "Connection strength, excellent." "Please," the voice said. "It's dark out here." I stayed silent. After a long moment, the footsteps retreated. The dot moved away, but it didn't leave the building. It stayed there all night, waiting. I left the city 2 days later. New phone, new number, different state. I didn't reinstall the app. I tried to forget. For a while, it worked. Then I received an email from the app's system address. No subject. 1 line of text. "Location sharing re-enabled by trusted contact." Attached was a map, a dot, at my new address, and beneath it, a timestamp. Estimated arrival, 6 minutes. I don't stay anywhere with a front door anymore.
I took the job because it paid well and didn't require much thinking. Night security for a private housing development still under construction. No residents yet, just half-finished homes, streetlights that buzzed like tired insects, and a long, looping route I had to walk every hour. Management said theft was the main concern. Copper wiring, tools, bored kids looking for a place to drink. They handed me the company phone with a tracking app already installed so they could, quote, monitor patrol consistency. I didn't love that idea, but I needed the money, so I nodded and signed. The app showed my route in real time, a thin blue line tracing where I walked, how fast I moved, how long I stopped. At the end of every shift, my supervisor checked it. If I lingered too long in one spot, he asked why. If I skipped a corner, he noticed. "It's for your safety," he said. "If something happens, we know exactly where you are." I believed him. The first few nights were uneventful. Cold air, empty houses, the sound of my boots crunching gravel. The app buzzed softly every hour, reminding me to start my next round. I'd follow the same loop, past the same dark windows, the same half-poured driveways. It was boring enough to make me careless. On the 6th night, I noticed something strange when I checked the app during my break. Alongside my blue route was another line. Thinner, red. It followed most of the same path, but not perfectly. Sometimes it cut corners I didn't. Sometimes it stopped where I hadn't. I assumed it was a glitch, maybe yesterday's data overlapping. I closed the app and finished my shift without thinking about it. The next night, the red line was there again. This time, it updated while I watched. As I walked, the blue line moved with me. A second later, the red line followed, always a few steps behind. I stopped walking. The blue dot froze. The red dot slowed, then stopped too, just a short distance back. My stomach tightened. I told myself it had to be delayed GPS data, signal lag, anything normal. Still, I turned slowly, scanning the street behind me. Nothing. No footsteps, no shadows, just empty pavement and the hum of streetlights. I picked up my pace. The red line did the same. When I got back to the guard shack, I showed the app to my supervisor. He frowned, squinted at the screen, then laughed it off. "That's probably a test profile," he said. "IT sometimes runs ghost routes to check system accuracy."
I didn't like how casually he said ghost, but I didn't push it. He told me not to worry and sent me home. That night, I dreamed I was walking the route, but my legs felt heavy, like I was wading through water. I could hear footsteps behind me, perfectly synced with mine. Every time I tried to turn around, my body refused. I woke up with my heart pounding and the uneasy feeling that the dream hadn't ended when I opened my eyes. The following shift, the app buzzed earlier than usual. New route detected.
I frowned. There hadn't been any changes mentioned. When I opened the app, my blue route was still there, but the red one had shifted. It no longer followed me exactly. Instead, it looped ahead of me, stopping at points I hadn't reached yet. As I approached one of those stops, my phone vibrated. Checkpoint reached. The message wasn't for me. It was logged under the red route. I slowed down, scanning the area more carefully now. The houses were dark shells, doors locked, windows uninstalled. There was nowhere for someone to hide without being obvious. Still, the sense of being watched pressed against my skin. At the far end of the development, near the tree line, I found footprints in the dirt. Fresh. Boot prints, similar to mine but slightly smaller. They stopped right where the red route had paused earlier. I called my supervisor again. This time he didn't laugh. He told me to return to the shack and stay there until morning. His voice was tight, distracted, like he was dealing with something else at the same time. Before hanging up, he added, "Don't deviate from the app." That sentence stuck with me. The next night, the red route started moving before I did. I was still sitting in the shack when my phone buzzed. Patrol in progress. I stared at the screen. The red dot was already halfway through the loop, moving steadily, confidently, like it knew exactly where to go. A few seconds later, another notification appeared. "You are falling behind." I felt a flicker of anger cut through my fear. I hadn't even started yet. I stepped outside, boots crunching gravel, and began my patrol. The blue line followed me. The red line slowed down, adjusted, and slid neatly behind mine again. That was the night I heard breathing. Not close, not far, just present, like the sound was stitched into the air itself. Every time I stopped, it stopped. Every time I walked, it followed. I never saw anyone, but the app kept confirming what my eyes couldn't. There were two patrols happening, one visible, one not. When my shift ended, the app didn't stop tracking. I got into my car and watched the blue dot move toward the exit. The red dot followed. When I pulled onto the main road, it stayed inside the development, pacing the fence line back and forth like it was waiting for something. At home, I couldn't sleep. I kept the app open, watching the red dot circle the empty streets. Around 3:30 a.m., it stopped at the exact spot where I'd found the footprints. Then it vanished. The next day, my supervisor didn't show up for work. By the third day, the company number was disconnected. The development site was locked down, gates chained shut, a temporary sign posted claiming unexpected delays. No one contacted me. No termination notice, no explanation. I tried deleting the app. It wouldn't uninstall. That night, my phone buzzed. Patrol overdue. The map opened on its own. The development layout was gone, replaced with a simplified grid. My neighborhood. A red route traced the sidewalks around my apartment building. A blue dot pulsed inside my living room. Mine. The red dot stopped across the street. Then my phone vibrated again. Supervisor override enabled. I turned off the phone and shoved it into a drawer. The buzzing continued, muffled but persistent, like an insect trapped in wood. When I finally worked up the courage to check it again, the screen showed only one message. Route learned. Beginning solo patrol. I don't work security anymore. I don't carry a smartphone. And every night, just before dawn, I hear footsteps outside my window. Measured, familiar, walking a path they already know by heart.